Brooks coming and charging through in 2018, with Tommy coming and shooting 63. So, there's been a lot of really, Ray Floyd back in the day. And
Shinnecock Hills doesn't care about legacies. For decades, it's chewed up legends, killed momentum, and ended careers in a single weekend. In 8 days, the 2026 U.S. Open returns there, and it should be one of the most electric majors in years. Instead, 5 of the biggest names in golf won't be on that first tee. 5 players fans have been waiting to see. And the reasons behind each absence are so different, so specific, that lining them up side by side stops feeling like bad luck. It starts feeling like a warning sign. Careers hanging by a thread. Personal crises nobody saw coming. Scheduling traps the modern tour built and players keep falling into. And one situation so jarring that people inside the tour reportedly went silent when it happened. This might be the most damaging field loss at a U.S. Open in over a decade. Agree, or is the field still stacked enough? Drop it in the comments, and if you're into this kind of behind-the-scenes golf breakdown, subscribe now. First, what makes Shinnecock so brutal? It forgives nothing. The wind turns mid-round with zero warning. The fairways punish any shot shape that isn't dead on. And the greens, once the USGA gets hold of them, turn nearly unplayable. The last time the Open was here, conditions got so extreme mid-tournament that the USGA had to emergency water the greens just to keep the event from spiraling out of control. People don't watch Shinnecock for the winner. They watch to see who breaks, who survives, and who rises when the course is actively trying to destroy them. Those moments need the biggest names in the sport on site. 5 of them won't be there. And each absence has a completely different root cause. One will frustrate you. One will hit you right in the chest. And at least one is going to genuinely shock you once you hear it. Story 1 starts with a phone call that stopped the sports world cold. Think about the handful of players who transcend golf, names that move ticket prices, spike TV ratings, and pull in casual fans who haven't watched a tournament in months. One of those players is sitting out Shinnecock, and it has nothing to do with form, rankings, or exemptions. What's happened to him over the past several months goes way beyond sports. A serious incident back in March. Fallout that spread far outside the golf world. And then, silence. The kind of controlled, deliberate silence that tells you the real story is far heavier than anything official being said. This marks his 2nd straight season missing every major. Not because his game fell apart, because life hit him in the worst way possible. Story 2 isn't a scandal, it's time quietly running out in full public view. Earlier this year, this player stepped away from competition for a family health matter. No big announcement, just a short, respectful statement, and then nothing. He missed the Masters, he missed the PGA, now he's missing Shinnecock too. For most players, skipping a US Open hurts but isn't fatal. There's always next year. For him, it's different because the US Open is the one major that's eluded him his entire career, the missing piece. And the older he gets, the more every missed shot feels less like a delay and more like a door slowly closing for good. The real tragedy isn't what he's losing. It's the story Shinnecock is losing, one the sport may never get the chance to tell again. Story 3 is uncomfortable for a completely different reason. This guy didn't disappear because of tragedy. He showed up, grinded through qualifying, did everything right, and still came up short. For years, he was one of the most reliable names in golf. Multiple wins, Ryder Cup appearances, a player who delivered when it counted. Fans figured he'd always just be in these fields. Then the rankings started sliding, the results dried up, and for the first time in a long time, his name wasn't an automatic inclusion in major fields. He went to final qualifying, something that would have been unthinkable for him a couple years ago, competed, and missed. Right now, there's no clean explanation for what's going on with his game. And for a player of his caliber, that silence says a lot. Story 4 is going to sting the most for fans paying close attention because it's happened twice in a row. This player has the ranking, the game, and absolutely belongs at Shinnecock, but the qualifying system doesn't care. For the 2nd straight year, he's been knocked out in a playoff decided by the thinnest possible margin. Last year, it was a brutal 5-for-1 playoff. This year, same process, same gut punch result. Not a slump, not a collapse, just the cruelest possible margins, 2 years in a row, at the worst possible moment. Story 5 has nothing to do with performance, and that's exactly what makes it so hard to argue with. This player entered 2026 with real momentum, an impressive major debut, making the cut, holding up under pressure, the kind of run that gets people talking. A first US Open appearance seemed like the obvious next step. Instead, he made a genuinely tough call. Dealing with a chronic health issue that needed real attention, he chose to step back rather than push through and risk something bigger than one tournament. He withdrew from Shinnecock, giving up what could have been a career-defining moment to protect his long-term health. Now line all five up. A personal life unraveling in the most public way imaginable. A lifelong dream slipping away during a private family crisis. A former tour staple in a decline nobody can explain. A rising star getting crushed by the cruelest qualifying margins, 2 years running. And a young player forced to choose his health over the biggest opportunity of his career. 5 completely different stories, but they're all pointing at the same uncomfortable truth about golf in 2026. The sport is being pulled in too many directions at once. The scheduling demands on players have never been heavier. The gap between signature events and traditional tournaments keeps widening. And the toll of competing at the top level, physically, mentally, emotionally, is becoming impossible to ignore. Shinnecock deserves the best field the sport can put together. This course demands it. Instead, the 2026 US Open opens in 8 days, with 5 major storylines already gone before a single shot is struck. The fans deserve better. The players who earned their spots deserve better. And honestly, the sport deserves better than what its current structure keeps producing. 7 of the top 20 players in the world will still be there, and there will be real competition. But the weight of these 5 absences is going to hang over every single round at Shinnecock, because now you know exactly what each one represents. Which of these 5 hits hardest for you? And does the PGA Tour need a real structural rethink before more of these stories start piling up? Let me know below, and if this is the kind of honest golf talk you come here for, subscribe and stay close because this story is far from over.